Hi there. My name is Teresa, and I have created this masterclass with the hopes of bringing real, useful information to people who want to know what manifestation is and how they can bring it into their lives. There's a lot of information out there if you have the time or the inclination to search for it. And some of it is really useful, and some of it isn't that useful, really. So, what I wanted to do here is bring forward my own tried and tested methods and my own beliefs around manifestation and how it works. So if somebody had asked me to share my thoughts about manifestation, only 3 years ago, for instance, I would not have been in any position to tell you hand on heart that it works. And that's because I was still learning and I was skeptical. So I was learning to trust the process and learning about my own beliefs around manifestation because belief plays a huge role in how your manifestations are going to come into being. So now I'm more comfortable with sharing because I've experienced my manifestations coming to fruition. So I am now actively imagining the things that I want for my life moving forward, and I am seeing the small things happening each day that I know are just stepping stones to the things I want to be mine. So I know this because I've already done it and I've seen how the universe brings those things that we want to manifest into our lives. Okay. So the first thing that we want to understand is that manifestation is not a magic trick. There are plenty of people out there, and they're telling you that you can do this to bring something into your life within a short space of time. They could be saying, do this method and have your thing within 24 hours. Or, there's a lot of people out there selling that. But the truth is that nobody can tell you how long your desired outcome is going to take. So once you can successfully decide on what you want and move forward in the knowing that it will be yours, only the universe itself is going to know how that's going to play out. And that's because the outcome relies on you, and how willing you are to trust the process. Um, and also, it depends on the thing. It depends on what it is you're trying to manifest. If you're trying to manifest a penny on the ground, you could see that within an hour. Because all the universe has to do is to, push one person to drop their penny, and then you manifest your penny on the ground. Whereas if you're trying to manifest something big, whether like it could be a vintage car, you're trying to manifest a vintage car, and that's going to be really difficult because a lot of things have to happen for that vintage car to become in your possession. So nobody can tell you how quick your manifestation is going to happen, but a lot of it does rely on you and your resistance or your trust in the process. So this can come really easily to some people, and they might feel completely ready to let go and to see what happens. And then on the other hand, some people might find it difficult to relinquish that control over the situation or the outcome. Um, and I think I was probably somewhere in the middle. There were things happening in my life that I had absolutely no control over, and that was really hard. Um, to have to let go, that I had no choice. I had to just let go of this control. And I would say to myself every day, the universe provides exactly what I need, exactly when I need it. And sometimes I really believed what I was saying, and other times I felt like I was almost lying to myself. But I kept it up. I kept up this mantra, this affirmation that I would say every single day. And in the beginning, I wasn't trying to manifest a lottery win or a beautiful car or anything like that. Honestly, I was just trying to manifest myself getting through each day, getting by with general ease until things could get better. And so the reason I'm sharing this is because I know this is something that so many people can relate to. I'm not this super rich life coach trying to sell you my lifestyle. Um, I'm just a normal person. I'm a wife, I'm a mother. We don't own our house. We're not super rich. I'm a normal person. And I've learned over time how to harness this power of manifestation in a way that is gradually making my life easier. And it has been since I began this journey. I think I liken a little bit to things like weight loss. Some people would say that if you lose a lot of weight quickly, let's say you go on a diet, they say this about diets, don't they? That if you lose a lot of weight quickly through a diet, it's not sustainable and that it will just come back on. And I always am reminded of that idea when I think about manifestation, that, somebody might try and sell you this way of manifestation, and, you might manifest the thing, the something that it is that you want, um, but you haven't really learned how to trust the process of creating your reality every day. So this one thing might be yours. You might be able to manifest this one thing, but what about everything else? What about the life you live, and the people you spend your time with, and how they treat you, and all of these things, um, to create a sustainable um, way of manifesting and creating your reality. It's about learning to trust the everyday things that happen, the little things. It's learning to go from the small and building yourself up. And I feel that's a more sustainable way of getting into this manifestation lifestyle of creating your life and taking your power back. Um, So a small exercise that you could do now, before we continue the video, you could pause it if you want to, or you can do this after. It's completely up to yourself. So what you could do now is make a list of things that you want for your life. And this can be as small or as large as you want. Start small and lead up to the bigger things, and put as many things as you want on that list, okay? So small might look like paying your next electricity bill, having the money to pay your next bill. Large might look like a new home or a holiday or something. So take the time to think about these things, and I want you to think about the things that you want, the things that you need. Put these in your list, and I want you to think of the importance of each one, and maybe list them by importance afterwards, or number them or something. What's the most important thing right now on that list? And to really get a feeling of what it is that you want, and what it is that you want first, and kind of working our way up, okay? Um, yeah, so you can make your list, and then we're going to move on to what's called imaginal acts. So when we're kids, we use our imagination all the time. To a 4 year old, I have a 4 year old, and to him, absolutely anything is possible. If he wants to be a dragon tomorrow, he's going to be a dragon tomorrow. Um, but as we grow and we learn through our experiences, our worldview tends to change. Um, we're told not to daydream. We're even reprimanded for it in school and stuff. So we need a sensible head on our shoulders, so that we can survive the world as an adult. These are the things that we're told as we grow up. Um, and it's ironic that using our imagination and daydreaming is the exact thing that sets our manifestations on a collision course with our lives. Um, the imaginal act is the term used to describe imagining the specific thing that you want to manifest. So the first thing that you need to do if you want something is to imagine that it's yours. Imagination is going to look different to everyone. So if you're very visual, this is going to play a part for you. If you don't visualize very well, you might feel, you might feel the thing, you might feel into the thing. How does it feel to have this in my life? How do I feel when I have this thing in my life? So it is going to look very different for everybody. But what you're going to do there is you're going to think back to the list that you made, and you're going to pick one thing off of this list, just for this small exercise. So you can pick anything you want on your list, big or small, okay? In reality, we are going to start small. But just for this exercise, whatever it is that you're going to be most able to visualize on that list, go for that one, okay? Um, so you're going to close your eyes and you're going to think about the thing. So what does this thing look like? Um, Pick out any small details that you can see on this thing, around it, whatever this is. What does it feel like to be in the presence of this thing that you want? What does it feel like? What would it feel like to have this thing? So this moment is a time for you to really form it in your mind. Let it take shape and notice those small details about it. So for an example, if this is a new home that you're trying to imagine this new home in your mind. So you're going to imagine the size of the home, what it looks like, how many rooms it has, the garden, the decor inside the house. Um, you're going to imagine yourself walking through this house. Imagine like feeling what it would be like to live in this house. You know, what does it feel like for this house to be mine? Um, because in your imagination, this is yours. Okay. So you're going to imagine your friends and family coming to see you in your new home and what they would say about it. You're going to imagine, they might be congratulating you on your new home and how that would feel for you to have your friends and family saying these things, So these are ways that you are going into these imaginal acts, okay? So if you are, for another example, you're imagining a partner in your life. So what you could do there is you can imagine the features that they have, their personality. What do you like about their personality? Um, what kind of hobbies do you share together? Um, and really kind of try to pick out the details here. Don't be thinking, oh, that's a bit too picky, or just really go into what's perfect in your mind. Let your imagination run wild, okay? Um, and very importantly, how would it feel to have this person in your life? How would it feel to be stood next to them? How do they make you feel? Um, you know, what you're doing here with your imaginal acts is you're creating a vision that you can live by. So once you have imagined it to be so, you have to live your life as if it is so, as if it's already happened because you imagined it. So you're simply waiting for it to show up in your now moment. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, the first step in your manifesting is to imagine that something can be yours, your imaginal acts. Okay. The second step is believing that it can be yours. And this is easy to say as a statement, but it can actually be one of the hardest parts in trusting the process. Okay. So think about the things that you believe are true, um, the things that you believe are not true. And think about someone who believes something that you don't, and how for them it's a complete truth, even though for you it's not. Okay. Um, think about how spirited debates can get because each side believes that they're right. So they believe it with such a conviction that even when the other side brings forward a decent argument, they cannot see how the argument is relevant because the brain is habitual and it's happy believing what it believes. So when you believe something with conviction, then it is true in your reality. Um, so our minds are creating our reality, and how we perceive everything dictates the kind of reality that we live in. So this means that if you perceive everyone around you to be judgmental, then this is what you're going to see reflected back to you. Even if the people around you are not judging you, you will perceive the things that they say to be judgments. And so you might understand now that going inward to work on ourselves it's an important part of manifestation. So it calls us to look at our beliefs and to ask ourselves where we are, where we are in our beliefs, where we're being limited by them, and if they still serve us. Um, so it would be amazing to think that we could simply like want something and manifest it into our lives, but to do that in the way that works, and as I said, that is sustainable, we need to build up our trust in the process and believe, and this is important, believe that we are worthy of the things that we want. Okay. So our perception of reality being mirrored back to us is called the mirror theory. So we see this all the time, every day. Okay. I already mentioned the example with believing that people are judgmental and seeing that mirrored back to you in your reality. What we want to start, what we want here is to start creating a reality that we truly enjoy, and it's kind of a system overhaul is what we have to do there. So we want to create this reality that we really enjoy being in. We're going to have to overhaul the system. Okay, so we want to think back to our list that we made and all the things that we would like to manifest. And we're going to start small with baby steps. So each thing on that list is going to have one or more beliefs attached to it. Okay. And looking at the beliefs that we hold, such as I am lacking financially, or nobody likes to be around me, things like that. And so we're going to sit with those and we're going to become okay with that version of ourselves, because we are that version of ourselves for a reason, for a valid reason. And we're going to decide that we're ready to change and evolve into a different version of us, a higher version of us. You're not changing who you are as a person, but rather how you perceive the things that happen in your everyday life. So it might be an idea here, where you could either pause this video or after the video, to have a look at your list again, okay, and have a look at why those things are wanted and why you haven't had them yet. And are there any beliefs surrounding these things, limiting beliefs that are holding you back? And I want you to be super honest with yourself, okay? Um, because it's hard sometimes to admit that we have a limiting belief around something, because we don't really tend to even realize that that's what they are. But pinpointing those limiting beliefs is going to help you in noticing them and where they show up for you. And the more you notice them, the more you can start to decide that you want to let that go. Okay. Um, so in the first example, the way we can start to shift our perspective is firstly affirming to ourselves that people are not judging us. So the first example was judgments and perceiving people to be judgmental. So we could say things like, people like me, people think I'm great. Or when people judge me, they are really judging something in themselves. So this helps you to have empathy for the person, which leaves you focusing on that rather than what they said to you. Or my personal favorite is, what people think of me is none of my business. And it's so freeing to let go of worrying what others think of you. Um, so you'll find that when you decide this, you might do really well for a few days, or you might be hyper aware of people and their judgments or their judgments. So this is going to be different for everybody. And the end goal is seeing a reality where people leave you be and there's no harsh judgments there. Not that you can see. So each time you have a pleasant interaction with somebody, you're going to notice that. So you're going to nearly hang on to that, okay? So you're going to have a pleasant interaction with somebody, you're going to notice it, and you're going to think to yourself, I can already see my new reality being mirrored back to me. And if you have an unpleasant interaction with somebody, you will say, I'm being tested to see if I will take the bait. My new reality is breaking through this illusion, or something similar. Okay. So don't judge yourself too harshly if you do slip back into your old ways of thinking. The important thing is noticing it and moving on. Okay. Um, and you're always with these affirmations, you're always going to be in the positive present tense. Present tense affirmations. I am getting better and further with my manifestation each time I fall back, or something similar. Okay. So you're trying not to use the future tense when you're affirming, because it's easy to say soon this will happen, you know, or something similar to that. But we're not using the future tense because this is telling the brain that it's in the future. And so in your reality right now, it will not be present. And right now is where you want it. You want it in your now moment. So you're living as if your desired reality is already here, present tense. Okay. So another example is financial manifestations. This is a big one for a lot of people because so many of the things that we want or need can be gotten with money. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to have money, wanting to be rich, so that you can be happier in your reality. Some people think that it's wrong to want money so that they can buy the things that they want, but if it's going to make you happier and it's going to make the people around you, your family, happier, you know, you might be able to help people more if you had money. You know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have money, okay? There's a lot of shame there, I think, for some people around this. So that might be something that you might need to work on within yourself, um, if that resonates at all. Um, so the problem a lot of people have is that when they think about financial abundance, they're thinking big. So they're thinking lottery wins or an unexpected inheritance or, you know, something big. But the problem with these things is they're not believable. So if you want the brain to believe and create something into your reality, then you need to absolutely believe, you know, you need to absolutely believe this thing can be in your reality. You are worthy of this thing. You need to have absolutely no resistance to this thing. So resistance is going to slow down any momentum that you're trying to build with your affirmations and your noticing of your new reality showing up. All of the work that you are going to be putting in, resistance is just going to cancel that out. So you really want to be completely open and ready for this thing, you know? Um, so for the least resistance, we start small. So we start to think about all the ways that we are already abundant financially, for example. So we're not focusing on the bill that we can't pay, but we're focusing on the bills that we can pay. And this is a small way that you can focus on your financial abundance if you are struggling to believe that you're financially abundant, because hey, we've been there. We've all been there. Okay. So you can focus on the coin that you found on the ground. You can focus on the lunch date that a friend paid for, the birthday money sent by granddad in the post, any of these small little things. There are so many ways that we are abundant that we don't notice when we're in a mentality of lacking. So we're just changing that perspective. We're shifting that perspective to notice the ways that we are abundant. So we notice these things and we can accept them in the moment for financial abundance beginning to show up in our reality. And that is when things can start to snowball for us, you know? So our affirmations can be, I am financially abundant. Financial abundance comes to me exactly when I need it. Or financial abundance comes easier and easier each day. These are all present tense affirmations, okay? And my own one that I mentioned in the beginning was, the universe provides exactly what I need, exactly when I need it. And this affirmation or something similar might be something that you'll repeat for a week and start to believe it, or it might take 6 months before you fully believe it. The work that you are going to need to put in is noticing where it is true each day. Okay. So a small boost in finances exactly when you need it. Your car breaking down right next to a mechanic's. You know, we're thinking small here because this is where we are building the foundations of our trust in the universe. So, you know, a friend asks you to babysit, okay? Your friend asks you to babysit next week and you say yes, right? 2 days later, someone else invites you somewhere that you really don't want to go. And magically, you have an excuse at hand that you cannot go because you'll be babysitting. So the universe is orchestrating everything for you. And to most people, they might say in this situation, oh, well, that was lucky that I had an excuse not to go because I really didn't want to go. But we know better than that. We are going to use this moment to send gratitude and knowing that our reality is being orchestrated so that things work out for us. Notice it and accept it and move on. And each time that happens, each time you have a moment like that when you can accept what the universe has sent for you, you are solidifying that belief within your mind, creating less and less resistance and really using that momentum to bring your desired reality into existence. Okay. Um, Manifesting in this way, you're not just trying to manifest one thing. Like you might be focusing on your one thing. Let's say, for instance, it's your financial abundance. You might be focusing on that one thing, and that might be what you're trying to manifest. But doing it in this way, in the small way, small little things each day, really solidifying that belief, it starts to overflow into other areas of your life. So it's not just financial abundance, it's the people around you and it's the little coincidences that make your life easier each day. You'll start to notice all of these different things. Okay. Um, but once again, I'm not going to say that this is an easy fix to change your life. I know from experience that not a lot of manifestation coaches will tell you that this is an ongoing process. This is about changing the way you think and holding on to that change, adapting it if necessary, and being hyper aware of when your thinking is bringing you down and causing negative shifts in your reality. It's about self discipline and accepting that we have a personal responsibility around our lives and our realities, um, and the way that we think, you know. So this can be hard for some people to accept. Um, they'll say things like, "So you're saying that bad things happened to me, and that they were my fault? You know that the bad things that happened were my own fault because I'm creating my own reality." And what I would say to that is that we come here with a plan. So when we come here with a plan to learn lessons, to spiritually evolve. And sometimes the bad or negative things were just part of our plan because of what we were able to learn from them. And because others might have learned from our situation too. Um, we can harness our reality and we can make it work for us, but some things are just part of the plan. And I know from experience that it's difficult to accept that. But once I did, it freed up so much worry space in my mind. So on a higher level, we did create the bad things, but we are not a victim. We are a powerful creator and we created this thing for us for a reason. And although you can't change the thing that has happened, you're in charge of how you perceive it and how you react to it. And that is a really powerful thing that not a lot of people realize they have, that power over their lives. Um, yeah. So, what to do while you wait? So, I've heard a lot of people expressing how difficult manifestation is for them. And almost all of the time, I hear them say how they were told to set their intention for the thing, affirm it, and then let it go, forget about it. The problem here, though, is that if you're a normal person with normal everyday struggles, then the things you're likely to be manifesting are going to be very important to your quality of life, your mental health, you know? It's all well and good saying if you want to manifest a vintage car, then you should set the intention for it and then forget about it and just know that it's coming, you know? But if you're trying to manifest help with your bills or food on the table, then you can't just let go of that. Of course, you're going to be thinking of that all the time. And I know this because I've been there. And when something is that important, like I said, you're just not going to be able to let it go and forget it. You're most likely going to be thinking about it every day and wondering when it will happen for you. And so while you're waiting for your manifestation to be brought into your reality, you're going to be working hard to assume that this thing is already yours. Okay, so I am not telling you to forget about it. I'm telling you to assume this thing is yours. Okay, this requires work and it's mainly just in the thinking department. It's your imaginal acts, it's picturing your new reality and the things you're manifesting in your life. It's noticing the things that are coming into your life that are part of your manifestation and accepting them as such. Um, so for an example, if you're wanting to lose weight, okay, let's say this is part of your manifestation and you're imagining what you look like. You're imagining how proud of you your family and friends would be, how much healthier you feel, how much more energy you might have, these kinds of things. So you're imagining, what does this new version of you look like? What are your hobbies? What do you like to wear? And you're imagining all of these details. And this is something that you can do when you find yourself wondering when it will happen. So instead of getting stuck in thoughts of when will this happen, this will never happen, or getting stuck in those negative kind of thoughts, you can flip that. So when you find yourself wondering when it will happen, you can start imagining it's already here. Okay. So another thing you can do, as I've mentioned before, is to notice the signs that your manifestation is coming. Your bridge of incidents is what it's called. So they are everywhere. They're just having to, um, we just need to notice them. So we're just trying to train our brains to see them, you know? Um, with weight loss, for example, you might be offered a few months free membership at a gym. Or you might see that a new walkway opens up really close to home. Um, on an extreme end of things, you might find that randomly you've ended up agreeing to rehome a dog, taking a rescue, and suddenly you find yourself with an excuse to exercise that you can't ignore. You could end up with a toothache, and this could be a sign because you might steer clear of sweet things now because of this toothache, the unhealthier kind of foods. So it's noticing these things from a new perspective, things that just seem random and normal and mundane, and noticing them for what they are. They're part of your manifestation coming into your life. And the more you notice them and accept them, the more you will see. Okay. And that builds up that momentum that we were talking about that will help to bring that into your life. Okay. You might also find, for with the weight loss as an example, you might find that you're somehow thrown into something that brings up old wounds from the past. Okay. Um, and you'll realize that if it's old traumas that are the culprit for weight gain, because sometimes it's not a health thing, sometimes it is old traumas that cause this weight gain. The universe will know this. The universe will know that that's the reason for it, and it will send you exactly what you need, even if it's difficult. So being open-minded enough to see that, um, and seeing that everything is a stepping stone to getting where you want to be. Okay. So another thing is keeping your imaginal acts and affirmations is in the present tense. As I already said, you're not waiting for something, you're assuming and knowing that it's already yours. So these are all of the ways, as I've mentioned, that you can work on your manifestation. So it's not just a case of how do I set the intention and then forget about it because I keep thinking about it. It's actually, no, there is work that you can do, and it's quite important work that you can put in to changing the way that you think about things, changing your perception on the things that happen. Okay. And then another aspect of manifestation that not a lot of people talk about is your sleep. So your sleep, your dreams, your subconscious is all very important for manifestation. So your conscious awake mind is the one that decides what it wants to experience and perceive. It makes the decisions, it takes action, while your subconscious is the sleeping mind, and this is the one that actually does the creating. Okay. So Neville Goddard once put it like this: the conscious mind is the male mind and the subconscious is the female. And just as physically the male and female would come together and the female would produce a child that is like the man, um, the subconscious and the conscious mind come together, and the subconscious sees what the conscious wants and reproduces its likeness in the outer world. So the subconscious is the creator. Okay. The subconscious does not discriminate or decide to make things easier for you. It will faithfully reproduce what the conscious mind is putting out into the universe. So you might have heard the term where thoughts go, energy flows. And so one of the best times to do your imaginal acts and to affirm your manifestations is as you're falling asleep. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged in what you're trying to create. So you're going to lay down and be comfortable, and you're going to let your imagination take hold and really feel what it would be like to have your wish fulfilled, and fall asleep in that feeling. And this way, your subconscious mind can get to work by creating what your conscious mind truly desires. And this is really important because I'm sure you know that when you're trying to fall asleep, the mind can run riot and it tends to default to the negative outlook and our worries, in like as a general kind of thing. We tend to default to that when the mind isn't busy, and as we're falling asleep we can find that we can't stop thinking about this thing that we're worried about, or this negative thing that happened. And so being responsible for your thoughts in that moment and putting them where you want them, into this, like I said, the wish fulfilled, putting them into this idea of this is what I want and this is how I'm going to feel when I have it and this is what it looks like, and letting yourself fall asleep in that feeling so that your subconscious mind can get to work and create what you want. Okay. And so, from everything that I've talked about here, some of it might resonate and some of it might not. And I hope you can move forward, if not with all of it, with at least a seed planted that you have power over the things that happen in your life. This masterclass, nor any other that you might come across, is going to change your life overnight. But it might change the way you look at things. And it might help you to start to see things in a different light, and maybe notice where there are some limiting beliefs that are holding you back, and ask yourself if they're still serving you, if they still have a place in your life, because limiting beliefs are there for a reason. They would have been formed when we were younger or in our teenage years, or whenever they were formed, and they're there for a reason. But it's okay to sit back and ask ourselves, is this serving me anymore? Um, so that we can really start to let go of those things that are holding us back. Okay. So yeah, that is the end of the masterclass, and I hope that you have gotten something from it. And good luck with your manifestations.